So we're going to be looking at some breathing practices together. Breathing's an incredibly powerful tool for us at perimenopause and menopause. It's this just amazing way of tapping in to the subconscious and really switching things around for our nervous system. And there's lots and lots of evidence now to show the power of breath work. We don't need to commit to super long practices or super extreme practices to get the benefits from this. 5 minutes of a mindful breath each day can work absolute wonders. Breathing practices are really powerful, and not everybody gets on with them straight away. They're talked about a lot as being an answer, particularly for things like anxiety. If we experience anxiety, and particularly if we've had panic attacks with it, we may well have experienced rapid breath patterns with that anxiety. And so some types of breathing practices, particularly the ones that people like Wim Hof publicise, where there's lots of very fast breathing, actually they can be really difficult for people with anxiety to try because it can trigger those feelings of panic and anxiety. So the complete opposite of what we're looking for. So we're really trying to work with the breath to engage the parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest mode, to help us switch off and unwind and tap into that other way of being. So with these practices, I'm going to focus on some breath awareness and some of the slower breathing practices. I'm not going to touch on the fast ones because I think they don't suit everybody. And there's a risk they can make us actually feel a bit worse rather than better, which is certainly not what we're looking for. So I'm going to begin with some just breath awareness. That mindfulness, what's happening with our breath? It's not within our conscious control most of the time, it's just happening automatically. It's part of the autonomic nervous system. There are all these mechanisms that we just breathe. But many of us might have got into patterns where we're breathing perhaps with just the top part of our lungs, perhaps we're breathing quite quickly, quite shallowly, and just noticing, being aware of what our natural tendencies are, is the first step towards potentially thinking around trying other things, seeing how we might feel with a difference in our breathing pattern. So we can begin with some practices just to notice, what are our patterns? Where do we feel our breath? I've chosen to sit quite high on a bolster. I'm looking to try and keep some room in the chest here. And I've tucked a blanket here over my feet and under my knees. Again, just to really feel some ease so that I can feel that I can really lift up through the body. I can have contact with the back of the body with the wall for a bit of support. The blanket also keeps my feet warm, which I love. So think about sitting in a comfortable position, ideally when you've really got this space across the front of the chest. For many of us, if we sit down on the floor, we'll find that the chest will become quite slumped. And our natural position most of the day, when we're sitting at computers, is to be in quite a hunched forward position. So we're really looking to try and create that space. And for many of us, sitting up on some height is the first step towards helping that to happen. So take some time to get yourself comfy. Make sure you're warm enough. Just going to take my headband out so that I can rest my head against the back of the wall as well. And really get that contact through the back of the body. So we're just going to begin by noticing the breath. Not trying to change it, not trying to force anything, just noticing. You may find it's easier for you to close your eyes so that you can really kind of tune in a little bit more. Just see, where is it you feel the breath in the body? Do you feel it more at the front, at the sides, perhaps at the back? You can feel that contact with the wall. Does it feel like you're breathing mainly with the top of the chest, mainly with the belly, a bit of both? Can you feel the belly moving with the breath? Does it relax more when you breathe in or when you breathe out? And what about the pelvic floor? Can you feel any movement there with your breath? Can you notice when it's relaxing and when it's contracting? And there's not necessarily a right or a wrong. This is really just an inquiry, a noticing, a mindfulness. And often, as soon as somebody talks about the breath, as soon as we start to think about the breath, it will automatically slow down a little bit. So as a doctor, I'm taught that a normal breathing rate, respiratory rate, is between about 10 and 16 breaths a minute. There's lots of evidence that shows if we can slow that down towards perhaps 5 or 6 breaths a minute, lots and lots of benefits for our body and our mind. And right now, we're not trying to change the breath. We're just noticing. Sometimes it can feel good to use the hands. We can get that feedback. We can rest the hands at the upper chest. See how much we might feel them moving with the breath. We can do the same over the side ribs. We can take a little hug. And we can place the hands on the belly. Sometimes it's difficult to relax the belly. We've often been conditioned to hold the tummy in. It's really important with any muscle that we use it through its full potential. So we need to let it fully relax, as well as, of course, engage it at times. So with both the core and the pelvic floor, the relaxation of these muscles is really, really important for us to practice. There's so much emphasis on engagement and contraction and lifting and pulling, and often much less emphasis on softening, on letting go, on releasing. And just take the hands back down to the legs. Just release them down again, anywhere that's comfortable. Just come back to that noticing exercise that we started with. Where are you feeling your breath? Is it different now to at the beginning? Is it perhaps coming deeper in the body? Is it a slower breath now? Perhaps it's exactly the same. Perhaps it's faster and this is uncomfortable for you. Try not to criticize any thoughts that come. Try not to judge yourself with how it feels. See if you can just notice. Just be. Your body knows how to breathe. Trust in your body. rest in your breath.